The Apple Box, the second most essential tool on any film set. I won't talk too long about Apple Boxes. I mean, they are very convenient. They're very necessary. I must have a set, whether it's in my studio or I'm going out on a project somewhere. Always have a set of Apple Boxes. There's 1,001 uses for an Apple Box. What are they used for? They can be used for sitting. They can be used for camera pods. They can be used for actors to stand on to bring up levels, or to sit on to make sure you have even levels between the actors. They can be used for grips to stand on to reach higher places. They've got 1,001 uses. They're very handy for about everything you want to do on a film set. And they're also one of those tools that everybody asks you for, whether it's the art department or it's camera department or it's the electrician department, and definitely the grips. They use these for everything. And sometimes it's just used for a grip to ground adapter. And if you're not familiar with a grip to ground adapter is, this is a grip to ground adapter. I'm a grip. I'm using the box to adapt me to the ground. Just a little film humor. Grip to ground adapter. Sometimes you'll hear that. If you worked in the movie business as long as I have, that's something you're going to hear. Okay, so this particular Apple Box is, again, from our friends at Kupo Grip. They lent us a whole bunch of gear, and the Apple Boxes were definitely a part of it. They wanted me to test them out, give my thoughts, tell them what I think about Apple Boxes and the quality of their Apple Boxes. Pretty good quality, I have to say. What makes these Apple Boxes pretty cool is what I generally call them stackers, which means you get a full set of Apple Boxes inside one box. This is a full Apple Box. And if I open up and show to you, you slide the top off, and then you've got a full set of boxes here, your half apple, your quarter, and your pancake. Now, as small production, commercial production, small truck, small studio, I like this design because it takes up very little space. It takes up little space in a small truck. It takes up little space here in my studio. So I don't have to have a whole big shelf of Apple Boxes stacked everywhere. I can put 5 sets on one shelf and not have to have an entire shelf for the full, the half, the quarter, and the pancakes. On a movie set, though, I'm never going to get something like this because I need things that are much stronger and much more reliable. To be completely honest, on a movie set, I would never use any of these stackers. One reason is because there is no middle spine in this full Apple. The full Apple is probably one of my most used out of all the Apple Boxes, and there's no middle wood brace or framing inside of this Apple, which could make it very weak to stand on or build platforms in. But for commercial work and my studio work and photography work, they're perfect because, like I said, they take up very little space. So we'll take a look at them. That's the half, that's the quarter, and that's the pancake. Or an eighth is what you could call that, an eighth Apple Box. But generally, people are going to call this a pancake. So, you know, like I said, you open it up, there's no middle framing or spline. They're solid. I stood on them. Doesn't mean that they're not solid. It just means like I need something a little bit more durable on higher end projects. That's all it means. Doesn't mean it's a terrible Apple Box. I've seen other people design this, higher name companies out there have made this design before. It just never took off, especially in the film industry. Like I said, we want something a little bit more sturdy. especially when you got actors. You got $1 million Tom Cruise standing on one of these and it breaks. That's not a good look. Just something I'm saying doesn't mean that the quality of this one particularly is bad. It just means in certain situations, I'm going to rent gear. And in certain situations, I'm just going to use my own gear. Good wood, solid. Not a whole lot more I can say about that. Since they lent this to us, I have not screwed into them, which is very common. That's another thing. You gotta have an Apple box that's able to take some wear and tear on a set. I'm gonna screw all kinds of things onto these on any film. So I didn't do that because I did not purchase these yet. I probably will purchase a set just to have in my studio. But later on in another video, when I get to screwing something into some of these boxes, I'll let you know how they worked out. But all in all, good design, fairly good wood, solid. I see they've made some of these a lot thinner than what I particularly would like. This is, again, just full honesty. It's much thinner ply on the quarter apple than it is the full apple. I'd like to see all these be the same size wood on the outside. Again, same size wood. I get close up, you can see that is much thicker. That's like a 1/2 inch, and that is like a 1/4 inch. I like to see things much thicker, but I don't want to ruin sizes, which you shouldn't have to. You should make this a little bit smaller. This is just for Kupo too, out there. I want this wood to be thicker and much more durable. But good design, all in all. They're on their way. They're a newer company to the industry. They haven't been around as long as some other companies have been, but they're on their way and they're making very nice stuff that's a little bit more affordable than some of the higher names out there. But that's the Apple Box Stackers from Kupo Grip. Again, I hope you hit that like and subscribe. We're well on our way to 1,000 subscribers. The more people who subscribe, the more ambition I have to do videos like this. And I hope you like videos like this. If you do, let me know. If you don't, I'll move on to something else. But that's that. Remember to go out there and keep shooting. And as always, we'll see you again in the next video.